Ja, I guess it's not going to take us out that top.
Hello, and welcome to the Pez Pork Show. We're back with Johnny, of course, and Pez and myself, Pork Belly here. Guys, what a wild weekend, huh? We had some Thanksgiving days. We had a Black Friday game and some crazy finishes yesterday. I know Pez is extremely happy this weekend with my upset pick. Oh, it's not looking. Hey, if it makes you feel better, the Seahawks are hanging on to that last playoff position.
As he always does. He always manages to fucking trip into the playoffs, that guy. Forgive and forget, and then we do it again the next year. It's rinse and repeat with this team at the moment.
Yeah, I think maybe it is being held back by a little bit of, Geno Smith is a great story, but he's certainly not the answer for that team, I think. I do think he plays well, but I think I can see the Seahawks making a change next year. What do you think?
The only change I've been clamoring for ever since, what year was it we played you guys? And it was the ugly, fucking 12-3 game where Russ wasn't allowed to do anything and then go and save us. And ever since then, I've wanted Pete Carroll to be removed. But
yeah,
as long as he's still there. As long as he's still there, and this isn't knocking him, Hall of Fame coach, he's done some really great things. But for me, I've been saying it for seasons now. Nothing will change with this team whilst he's still there. Change Geno, change the offensive coordinator, change the D coordinator. We will still, eventually by the end of next season, look exactly the same as we have this season, the season before. It's all we ever do. So, unfortunately.
I do find it amazing that Carroll has, guided what I would consider some pretty bad teams to playoff positions and, pretty good records. I mean, I think he's done a masterful job. But, of course, that could be Schneider in good players. But I don't know.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough, Paul. It's not good enough because you actually, not to make this into a Seahawks thing because it's depressing, but you actually look at the last couple of years when we got to the playoffs, how have we made it? We tripped in. We got lucky because other teams have let themselves down and given us the spot. When you actually deep dive into them playoff experiences, 90% of them are trips in there, accidentally, oh, we're here again. How have we got here? But we're not going to. You know what? This week we're not going to talk about the Seahawks. We're going to talk about your Cowboys. You must be getting excited. You must.
I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the game this week. I must say, I'm excited to play a winning team. It starts 3 weeks of show it if that's what you are. We're going to find out if the Cowboys are for real. I am excited. They're beating up on bad teams. I admit it, but
you're going to beat up on another one this week. Honestly, this week isn't the week to go. If you beat up on the Seahawks with the way we're playing at the moment, I'd hold and wait till the week after. You've got 2 weeks to prove it. This week we're just in a shambles. No offense. We're not going to be able to keep up with you.
Yeah, that's what they said about the Cardinals, man, and the Cardinals just destroyed us. So,
well, let's hope we are one of them.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's the NFL. You never know what's going to happen. But what's interesting? True. You mentioned Carroll. I could see 2 legends being gone off the sidelines next season. Depending on how the Seahawks finish up this year, with Belichick and Carroll gone. Wow, wouldn't that the NFL would look a lot different without those guys? Huh? All right, Johnny, what do we have first today? I think we have some trades.
Let's see if Windows 95 can operate.
Deadline week trades. We have the Laxdale Legends at 4-7, making a last-ditch effort for the playoffs. Trading he receives Jonnu Smith and traded. Sorry, guys. He's receiving Jonnu Smith and Trevor Lawrence, trading away Lamar Jackson. Wow. All right. Big trade. Big names. What do you think, Pez?
I don't know. I'm a bit stumped here because Lamar's had some bad games, but when Lamar has a good game, he pretty much wins you that week. Like his good games are off the chart. Like Trevor Lawrence has had 2 good games back to back. Trevor Lawrence does do this. Like he has very low periods in the season, and then when he gets hot, he gets going. So maybe they're just looking at switching things up, but it doesn't make sense. Leeds Lassos. I'm interested to see whether Trevor Lawrence is their only QB or if he's the QB2 in their team and they're getting Lamar because he has a decent stretch. It's hard to see what.
You don't normally see a first place team trading their quarterbacks like this, but I mean, I'm not against it. I think both of these quarterbacks would be okay. I kind of like Trevor Lawrence's schedule, perhaps better.
Gaming needed a tight end.
Gaming needed a tight end.
That's why. Johnny, if you could just put in how far is Lexdale Legends from a playoff spot? Oh, he had Andrews.
Oh man, he had Andrews at 4-7, and then he goes to Jonnu Smith. Man,
the thing is, with the scoring in the Orkney Bowl, Jonnu Smith, because he gets so many targets, Jonnu Smith isn't too bad of a shout. He with the extra points on the PPR and stuff, he does get himself a lot of points in this scoring system. It's not a bad shout. Trevor Lawrence he's had 2 decent games in normal scoring. He had that monster game last week, and then he had a 25-pointer. I don't know what that translates to the Orkney Bowl. So he's 2 games back.
Went out and get some help.
Yeah, so with Andrews down, well, that's why he's 4-7, because he had this stack of Andrews and Lamar, and that stack in fantasy hasn't been the most. To be fair, actually, I've got Lamar, and he only got 18 points in this week in the scoring. So what did Trevor Lawrence get? I'll just quickly have a look. What week are we? 12? Are we week 12 now?
We're in week 12. Jackson got 29 this week. Yeah, Lamar Jackson got 29.
Did he get 29?
Yeah. Fantasy points,
How come
29. Let's see. Pat Mahomes, 31. Jalen Hurts, 31. Dak, 29.
So
McCaffrey, 27.
Trevor Lawrence got 33 points this week. His schedule, he's got Cincy next week, should be good. He has the Browns, Baltimore back-to-back, and then, saying that, this guy needs the 2 games, so I don't know. I think because of circumstance, it's an understandable trade what he's done.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking at projections.
Yeah, because I have Lamar, and he only got like 18 because he fumbled. Like that game was an absolute shit show, to be quite honest. They play each other this week.
Lamar's one of those that can be so frustrating that, if he's not running, he's not passing much. You know? So he doesn't have big 150-yard games and 3 touchdowns very often.
Johnny just put in the chat there that they played each other this week. I wonder who won, because I have a feeling, depending on Lasso's team, with the quarterback point difference, I reckon Lexdale picked up the win. But I understand it. And to be quite honest, Lamar has, especially in the Orkney Bowl scoring, Lamar has been piss poor. So, and he needed a tight end. So,
Lasso's
winning.
I personally prefer to have Trevor Lawrence over Lamar Jackson, but Lamar is always unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get. But when he scores big, man, he can make he can put you over the top easy. Yeah. So, do you have a winner here, Pez? I'm gonna call push.
Yeah, push.
All right, Johnny, let's go to the next one.
It's the time.
All right, we have Norwich Mustard Men at 7-4 has received Tua Tagovailoa and Khalil Shakir, while the Quaybanks Lightning at 7-4. Dreve, hey, I've been in a few leagues with Dreve here, has received DJ Moore. Wow, this is a big trade. Interesting. Again, without knowing roster makeup, it's always hard to say who ultimately wins depending on what other players they have. I would definitely go on the side of Tua on this side here. I don't think DJ is big enough playmaker but I could be wrong. What are your feelings here?
Tua is so up and down in fantasy. It's honestly last year and this year I've had him in fantasy in general, not just Orkney Ball, and he literally has mid-teens 20, mid-teens 20, mid-teens 20. He's so up and down. I understand why they went for DJ Moore because Fields came back last week, and so when Fields was out, he's gone from 1932, 56. There's a 16, there's a 17, depending where Fields went out. Did Fields go out in the Washington game? How many? Because if he has, his production dipped as soon as Fields came back, 26 points. Then they go to the Vikings tonight, a bye. Then they've got Detroit, Cleveland,
bye week. That's
Arizona,
the first week of the playoffs, right? His bye week is the first week of the playoffs?
No, because the playoffs is week 14, I think, or 15.
Okay.
So it's a smart move by Lightning, banking on the Fields, DJ Moore, like you said, without seeing roster construction. I get that.
And Moore is the number 10 wide receiver this year right now in the Orkney Bowl.
Yeah.
So, it is a solid trade. Quarterbacks are easier to find in single quarterback leagues, right? You only need, if you had teams, you only need 10 quarterbacks, right? While wide receivers.
I wonder who Lightning's quarterback is for giving Tua up.
Yeah. And what are his other receivers that he can give up DJ Moore without losing a lot of production? I'd love to know what the Mustard Men's other wide receivers are. Wow, that's a big one. I love trades like that. Yeah.
He's got the stack. So he's got the stack. Right, I get it. That's why he's gone for that. He wants that stack tonight.
Getting the stack down the playoffs run here. Yeah, okay. I wonder if
I think it's quite even, to be fair. With
again, I would give it a push. I think perhaps both teams filled holes that they needed filled. And Khalil Shakir is having a quiet season, but a quietly good season. He's been solid as a plug-in guy.
Yeah. Do you know what? If you had to push me to pick a side, let me just check something. If you had to push me to pick a side, I'd say the Lightning's won this, but solely because of the Fields DJ Moore stack could literally, in the Orkney Ball scoring, could literally win you a week on its own. Plus, when you look at matchup, Tua has Washington next week, probably have a big game. Then he has Tennessee, the Jets, Dallas Cowboys, and the Buffalo. That's his. That's Tua's playoff schedule. So the Mustard Men might fall flat on their face if they're relying on Tua, whereas the Lightning,
the Mustard Men just lost Olave, right? Is Olave going to be gone for a while? So now he just has.
He's Olave's got concussion.
Oh, wow, that's gonna hurt.
So you look at DJ Moore and Justin Fields for the Lightning. They've got the Vikings tonight. They could easily, because Johnny said they're both losing this week at the moment. That, depending how far, them two alone could win them his week with a decent matchup. Yeah, they go on bye. But then they come back to Detroit after the big game they put up against Detroit last week. Well, last week, sorry. Cleveland might be a hard game, but you don't know by that point because they're struggling, aren't they? They're dogfighting it, but meh. And then you got Arizona and Atlanta for the last 2 weeks of the playoffs. So,
wow.
If I had to pick a side, I'd say the Lightning's won that. Without seeing roster construction, just off this alone, and knowing he's got Justin Fields, I think that stat could be valuable going down the stretch.
I think that's a solid choice. I can't argue with that. I'm going with you, Pez. Yeah, let's go to the next one. I think there was one more trade Johnny had. Let's see.
Oh yeah, he's the main man.
I felt like it again. Quentin Johnson and Aaron Jones for Brandon Ayuk. Johnny receives Brandon Ayuk. We convinced him last week, Pez.
Yeah. No, I have Ayuk everywhere, so you don't have to convince me much about that one.
Yeah, he's having a great season. Yeah, he's been a solid guy, man.
Am I right in thinking that Aaron Jones is injured?
This week, anyway, yeah. But he's been injured all season.
He's always injured.
It's hard. He's never been the same since week 1, so I'm glad I got rid of him.
I don't know what he's done. What has he done?
He's been really nice to the commissioner. What?
Is he trying to sweeten the commissioner for a better division next year? Is he trying to get a conference change?
No.
Wow. Aaron Jones, man.
Aaron Jones and Quentin Johnson, like what's the point?
Johnny,
I put a couple of offers out yesterday, and that was the one that got accepted. So I'm not going to say no.
Man,
I will go hands down. Brandon Ayuk side is the winner here.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnson has done nothing. He's a rookie in a redraft league. I'm not sure what the thinking of that is. He's done nothing, even with Williams out. Aaron Jones has been sporadic at best this season. I don't think he'll be a starting running back as the bell cow after this season.
Well,
he is going to be put into that running back hopper of all those other guys like Ezekiel Elliott and all those old guys. And he'll be done.
Well, my wide receivers are now Ayuk, Jaden Reed, AJ Brown, and Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne. I didn't mind getting rid of Jones because I've got Breece Hall and I've got Barkley, so they're going to get all the touches. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that one. So.
Wow, yeah, that's a pretty solid running back room, right? Yeah.
And I got Stafford last week on free agency, which is quite handy because I already lost Cousins at IR and I lost Carr when he was playing. So it was like a nice 38 points for Stafford this week. So,
what are you thinking, Pez?
Yeah, Johnny Ayuk. I don't get why you give up Ayuk when you're 4-7 for them two pieces. I just don't get it.
He made a couple of interesting trades this week.
When
you're 4-7, you got to try new things, right? Shake it up.
Corruption is your league, Pez. You know what I mean?
I scored
I've been reading the
points in my league and lost. To McGonigal.
Yeah, well, he's traded half his team away and got a superstar team, so of course they're going to lose. And you gave him some of the players.
I scored the second most points in my league and lost.
Probably because of Kelsey, was it?
Oh my gosh, maybe. I can't remember. It just made me sick. Because I needed this win to make the playoffs, man. I've lost a lot of close ones this season. It's been a heartbreaking season. All right, so we both agree that Brandon Ayuk is the winner here. Let's see what we got next, Johnny. Yes, everyone's favorite fantasy couch with Dr. Pez.
Because of his old laptop. No, because the sound's not working on his slides, so he just has to move on. But you did it for us anyway.
With the very old computer, it wasn't working, so I didn't bother putting it in. But I'll add it in later on if I get a chance.
All right. Well, I made an intro for you. Are the Seahawks? Well, wait a minute. What respect are you giving the Hawks here? You misspelled their name. Are the Seahawks a better team because of trading away Wilson? Or would they be better off keeping him on the roster, allowing him to cook?
We are better. Overall, we are better. Even though these last couple of games have gone down the shitter, we've got really good talent on our team. And like you said at the start, things can change within a week. Things can just click out of nowhere. We have the talent to be able to do that. Whether we do, I don't know. But I still think we're better off without him there, definitely. Like cap, everything, all the young players we got him through the draft capital we got from him. Yeah, I think we are better moving on, even though he is starting to get back to his old self again in Denver. It's took him a while to get comfortable, but he's right. Making it happen, hasn't he? The most informed team in the league at the moment, Denver, I think.
Yeah, Denver is actually playing quite well. They've won 5 straight, I think, and they're now 6-5, right in the middle of the playoff hunt. And what an amazing turnaround after giving up 70 points to the Dolphins. I don't know much about the Seahawks, to be honest. I obviously know their stars, JSN and Metcalf, Lockett and Walker, Charbonnet, and obviously Smith, but I don't really know much about their defense except for Adams is now, I guess, third string safety, which is interesting.
Just injury prone, he can't keep himself going. You'll know all about Devon Witherspoon by the end of the year if you've not already seen it, because he's had a solid season. Yeah. The East Coast bias of Jalen Carter, where they're really trying their best to push Jalen Carter as Rookie Defensive Player of the Year, is just outrageous. For what Devon Witherspoon's done statistically and on our defense, he is hands down Defensive Rookie of the Year. No one touches him for coming in straight away and just being an absolute multiplier on the defense. It's statistically and with your eyeballs. He's not a rookie, though.
Yeah, he's not a rookie. Actually, I think the Seahawks could have a very solid team in a couple of seasons. If they draft and have a couple of
the quarterback,
a couple more solid drafts like they did last season or this year, I think the Seahawks could be quite dangerous. But
Pete Carroll, if you go back to when Russ first came, he was this like kind of goofy, wanted to do anything to win kind of character. If we can draft a quarterback with that, we don't need one of these like Caleb Williams or, one of the big guys who are established and they've got their own ego already. We need a guy who is going to scrap to, want to be on a roster kind of situation. What Russ was a 3rd rounder. So, someone with the right attributes as a player, that's what Pete Carroll needs to succeed now. Like Geno Smith isn't working. Geno Smith's been in the league far too many times. He has too many tendencies. Russ and Pete had so much success with Russ because at the end of the day, he's a 3rd rounder. Nothing's guaranteed as a 3rd rounder, and he was willing to do anything to win. If Pete Carroll, next year's draft, can get a quarterback like that, fresh off the shelf, fresh out of college, where he's not too cocksure of himself, then next year we could see the Seahawks jump levels because that's how Pete Carroll excels. Pete Carroll started going downhill when Russ got bigger, than his position. Geno, in my opinion, even though he comes across as a team player, he's been in the league far too many times. He's been in the league for far too many years, and he already kind of has his foundational attributes, if you know what I mean. So I feel like if Peter Carroll's staying, no one's going to get rid of him. The owners aren't going to get rid of him. He needs to get a quarterback in this draft who basically coming in as a blank canvas so he can do his Pete voodoo on him and get him to just buy in. And then that's where you'll see the Seahawks excel, I think.
That'd be exciting. I may have an odd take, but I think obviously the Seahawks would be better with Wilson if he is playing at the top level that he is now. However, I think of the money the Seahawks are saving every single year by not paying that $45 million a year for the next 5 years, right?
Yep.
And that's going to be a huge advantage for the Seahawks when it comes to developing this young roster. So I think ultimately they're better off without him, primarily because of the money and because he is getting a bit older. So the Broncos are still going to hate that contract in 2 years.
100%. Yeah. But you're seeing now, like Russ had a come down to earth year. He had a come down to earth year last year, and you're seeing him going back to kind of his old ways, kind of maybe realizing that I'm bigger than the NFL attitude he had towards the back end of his career at the Seahawks. Hasn't worked, so he's gone back. But Denver's defense, that's what he needs. That's what he needs to succeed. That's who he is. If he has a really good, he would have probably excelled at the Seahawks this year because of how good our defense is. Because he would have got the job done on the offense and relied on the defense. Yeah. Whereas, in my opinion, at this moment in time, from the evidence, Geno, the offensive coordinator, Pete Carroll, they can't get it done together. That trio, they just can't get it done together. So, but
I'm pulling for Geno, though, man. I'm pulling for the guy. He seems like a real cool dude. So I hope that they're able, not next week, but I hope they're able to have a run. Johnny, let's go. Let's see the next question for Doc Pez. Who's more important for their team? Travis Kelce or Jason Kelce?
Oh, so I'd say Jason Kelce straight out the bag. But this year, with the way the Chiefs are struggling, it's a great question to put because if Travis wasn't on that team, the Chiefs would be struggling. Last night, they were struggling. And then Travis started getting turning. And then he's a game changer. He is a game changer on that offense at the moment, especially with all their struggles with the wide receivers. Jason Kelce's a monster, though, isn't he? Hurts' overtime run was all he got that touchdown solely because Jason Kelce just bulldozed the lineman out of the way and created the lane for him.
Amazing, isn't it?
Ooh.
I mean, those two guys.
Wow. Do you know what? What do you think? I'm interested to see what your take is on this because that's a hard one.
Yeah, I think that ultimately the Eagles would still be close to 10-1 or 9-2, 8-3 without Jason Kelce. I think the Chiefs could still have the exact same record without Travis Kelce. However, I think the Chiefs would struggle a lot more on offense just because of the lack of playmakers. Pacheco has been playing well the last few weeks, and that's a good sign for them. But they don't really have any deep weapons. You know, you saw last week he was wide open, and he dropped the game winner, right? MVS, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
This guy like Tyreek Hill. They need a guy like that for Mahomes to truly show what he can do. I'm going with Jason Kelce, though. I like the offensive lineman. I think he's vital for that overall success of the run game, pass protection that gives Hurts time. And he has that personality that drives other players, I think, in his position group to be better. But that's my take. What do you think?
I'm glad you went with Jason. I was interested to see what you said, because only a couple of episodes ago, when we said if you had two, what was the question? If you could take two players from other teams in your division, would it make your team better? And you highlighted Jason Kelce as being one of them guys. I thought if he goes back on what he said, I'm going to get him.
No. I hate the Eagles, but I admire, Kelce. He's my type of player that I wish we had on the Cowboys. Zach Martin's a lot like that. But
it's so hard because
wow,
it's so hard because you look at Jason Kelce and it's straight up, like you said, it's protection, it's leadership. He reads everything so well. He spots all the defensive little wrinkles the majority of the time. And then you've got Travis, who's shown time and time and time that when the Chiefs look down and beat, he'll just get himself open and he's like a bulldozer. Gets them legs start churning up to top speed and no one can slow that guy down. Crazy.
And he always knows where to be on the field. It's amazing. He's always able to get open.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to say Travis, just solely because this year alone has shown, like you said, this year alone with all the offensive struggles, like without him there, would they have won some of these games they've won this year?
Yeah, it reminds me of Gronk and Brady, man. What would Brady do without Gronk? And
I think
Gronk literally saved that pass offense.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one because you got to say both. But if I had to choose, I'll say Travis.
Yeah, well,
just because, like you said, it's Mahomes. It's Mahomes and Kelce. It's Brady and Gronk. You just got to get it done.
Yeah. All right. I like that type of conversation there, Johnny. Good question. Let's see what we got next. Any dynasty trade targets based on schedule? Well, the trade deadline is passed, so perhaps in other leagues we can ask this question.
Dynasty trades.
Because it's dynasty.
It's dynasty trades passed.
We're in a redraft. Yeah. So any dynasty trade targets based on schedule you like for the playoffs? From Manchester Bees GM, Pat Toll, 2104.
It's a hot. I saw this question and I'm still a bit. It's a hard one because if you in Dynasty, I've only been doing it a couple of years myself, so I'm not that experienced with the wrinkles of Dynasty and things like that. But from my knowledge at the moment, it's a hard one really because trading solely for the playoffs in Dynasty could destroy you in a way. But if you're in win now mode, it's like
middle teams, though. You trade players that, you trade your
right. Do you know what you can? Because you're probably more knowledgeable on the old Dynasty front than I am. What is there any what come to your head straight away? Would you go if you're win now? Would you go really high? Like a star player who's going to put you over the edge so you basically secure that win? Or do you just get a rotational piece to keep the points rolling?
Yeah. If first thing that I do is ask myself, do I have a legitimate chance to actually win in the playoffs? And the way that I answer that question is look at the total points scored in the league, right? And if I'm within 100 to 150 points of the leader, then yeah, I consider I have a legit chance. And then, yes, I will go out and make a trade. The one trade that off the top of my head that I remember, I traded 2 second-round draft choices for Madison and Ridley about 3 weeks ago. And the trade, at first, I was not very happy with it, but it's turned out to be quite a good trade for me so far. You know, as far as dynasty, you're right. You can mortgage your future because a first-round draft choice is extremely valuable. And people don't realize how valuable that mid-round, first-round draft choice, the 5th and 6th choice in the first round. I think that's where teams are made. You know, I'm always trading, though, for picks. I'll trade my guy. I just traded Kenny. I traded Walker for a first-rounder.
What? Yeah. You never trade Ken Walker. He stays with you to the death. I've got him in so many dynasty teams. I messed a few of them up because it's my first time playing him, and everyone's like, "I'll give you first to Walker." I said, "He comes down with this shit. He's tied to the mast coming down to the bottom of the ocean with me."
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it, man. I still have Elliott on several of my teams. It's hard to give up, the guys you love. Yeah.
After last night, if, for example, if you could still trade in your dynasties, I still think Hollywood Brown for the Cardinals. He showed it last night. Eventually, the third game back with Kyler, and eventually he started showing what you saw before Kyler went out injured. And if that's just the start and they got their little best buddy connection back again, he could go off in the playoffs because their schedule is Pittsburgh next. Great matchup to get back on track. They do have a bye at the start of the thing. So again, this is more like a rotational piece. You can get you the points to win you the week. But then they go San Francisco, Chicago, and then Philly. Now, watching the Cardinals, they did get destroyed by the Rams last night, but they're just in backyard football mode. They're just throwing it around, just trying to stay competitive in games on offense and stuff, get Kyler back right, get Kyler confident. He could be a nice little pickup.
If I thought of a guy, if you can't afford it, Jonathan Taylor. Oh, Pez, we can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. I would say Jonathan Taylor. He had 4 weeks of rest. He's been playing a lot better here. I think he had 21 points yesterday. 21 points. Yeah. I think he'd be the guy because he's young enough that you would have to pay probably a couple of first-round picks for him. But he's young enough that he's going to stay in your team for another 2 or 3 years, and he's showing he still got it. Right? He's, 24, I think? So, I would go for Jonathan Taylor down the stretch if anyone's willing to cough him up.
Do you know who you could go for?
Who's that?
Now he's got his wheels going. Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I said last week or 2 weeks ago to trade him, right?
Because he was doing fuck all a couple of weeks ago, but he's got rolling now.
Yeah, yesterday he balled out, man. Or not yesterday, but Thanksgiving.
Do you know what? He's so dangerous, though. Oh, Johnny wants to move on by the looks of it. He's so dangerous because...
Yeah, we're running a little long on time, I think. We have a few more questions. Yeah. All right, we got Tony Pollard there for you. Here's from Duke Mueller of the Yorkshire Finns. Joshua Dobbs or Jordan Love for the rest of the season? Also, what would you look for if you're trading Bijan?
Do you know what? I'm a big fan of Jordan Love, and he frustrated me for so long in his dip. But if you actually, the the content on the field, what you watch with your eyeballs, wasn't great. But if you look at his points, I'll just get actually back on the Orkney ball so I can give a true reflection of his points. If you look at his points, even when it's looked ugly, after his bye week, from week 7 on, 25 points, 19, 17, 27, 26, 37. He's slowly getting his connections back he had at the start of the year, because he started 30, 28, 32, 22, had a bad game before the bye, and then he's kind of quietly picked back up again. Now, they've got Kansas City next week. That's going to be hard because that defense is looking legit. But then he's got the Giants, the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Vikings if you make it deep into the playoffs. I like that. I just don't know, right? Because Dobbs is great. It's a great story, this, that, and the other. But we saw it at the Cardinals. We saw him do this stuff at the Cardinals. But then we also saw, after a couple of weeks, when teams started figuring him out, he started dipping. Now, he's got, obviously, Chicago tonight. He then has a bye. So this all depends for me. If you're securing the playoffs, Dobbs is a really good one. So this is how I separate it. If you are safe in the playoffs and you say you have Jordan Love and Dobbs and you need to drop one of them, that's your scenario. Or, well, you can't trade anymore. The trade deadline's done. But if you have to choose between one of them week by week, I'd say if you are safe in the playoffs, I'd roll with Dobbs because Dobbs has got Chicago a bye. Play Jordan Love in the bye because he's got a good game. Did I say that? Yeah, I think he's got a good game with it. So but then the playoff run for Dobbs is the Raiders, the Bengals, Detroit, and then he finishes at Green Bay. Wow. So I'd personally say at this point, if you're fighting to make the playoffs, I'd say Jordan Love's your man. If you're safe in the playoffs and you could take the hit and stream someone in week 13, I'd roll with Dobbs because even though I do think he's a quarterback where teams figure him out, because if you look, saying I've got it here, he had a spell here where 13, 14, 16, and then he went to the Vikings and was 32, 29, 32, 20. Just got to be careful that teams don't figure him out.
Pez, I agree with you. And here you had your say about the QB, showing some love for the QB from the Green Bay. So I agree with you. I would go with Jordan Love, and I screwed the whole thing up, and I just thought of it. Anyway, so Bijan. What would you need for Bijan?
You're screwed. Really, if you've not gone and got him, if you can still trade and you wanted to trade him after this week, you've fucked it, essentially. Because after what he put up this last week, he looked like the Bijan everyone drafted. He was all over the place, through the air, on the ground. That bye week must have sorted him right out because he looked unstoppable last night. And that Saints team is no joke against running backs. The Saints defense is one of the, I think, up there with one of the best in the run. But it's not so much the points. The points, obviously, was it 20 points, did you say?
Actually, I had it on the different league. Let me see what he got in Orkney. Bijan had yesterday 32 points in Orkney Bowl. Wow.
Let's just put it this way. It will take you. He's not put dynasty. If he's just normal league, I'll just put it out there right now. If you can still trade, no one is letting Bijan Robinson go with an end of schedule of the Jets, the Bucks, the Carolina Panthers, the Colts, and the Bears. It's a non-starter unless you've got a mate who's one and done, and you can bully him into giving him, and you're going to split some of your prize money if you're in a paid league. No,
illusion. No,
you're not getting him. Like, he had 23 points before the bye, come back off the bye, got nearly 10 more points, and his end of season schedule is ridiculous.
If I was in a dynasty league, I would take a couple of firsts. But I'm a bit different. I don't value running backs at such a high level, because running backs are always going to miss significant time with some sort of injury. And then when they come back, it's always at least one season before they return to normal. Look at Breece Hall. Look at Pollard. It takes some time. Even Taylor for a small degree. And so you're going to lose significant games from running backs. If someone offers me 2 first-round draft picks, I'm taking it. But, of course, I'm different than most people. It would have to be mid-round first, right? I wouldn't want like a 1.12, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't interest me. That's a second-round draft choice, really. Yeah.
At 21 years old, dynasty redraft, I wouldn't. He's mine. He's all mine.
Yeah, I love Bijan though. If you were lucky enough to have one of the worst teams, because he was the first choice in the dynasty drafts, keep him. Yeah, that's a cornerstone guy.
Yeah,
cornerstone guy.
Oh yeah, he's a rebuilding.
Right. The good questions, dude. Good questions. What do we got next, Johnny? Tight end strategy in dynasty. How valuable is Kelsey still? Where have the new breed, Laporta, Kincaid, etc., all risen to you in your ranks? And where does Andrews fall to now with his injury? Ranks are one thing, but how do you approach tight end overall in non-tight end premium scoring leagues? This is Gossip Fighting Gophers GM Will Barrow. So basically, he wants to know, how do you rank your tight ends? Is the new breed of tight ends going to be as good as the old guys going out? And, how do you approach a non-tight end premium scoring league with the tight end? Is it a valuable position to have?
I never normally, like in my standard, without Johnny's crazy scoring system, normally my tight ends, like, I just stream it. Like,
yeah,
I normally just stream. I normally just stream it personally myself. But
yeah,
I would make an exception, especially in Dynasty. Like, Kincaid looked really good yesterday, but I'd make an exception for Laporta. Just because you saw the evidence with Hockenson at the Lions and Goff and who he is as a quarterback. You just knew that Laporta would come in straight away and be like going off straight away. So like, I'd probably, it's so hard because Laporta's had such a good year. You probably have to pay too much. So within the question of the first question, I probably won't want to pay too much for my tight end. I'd probably just buy it on it. But if someone was willing to put a fair trade together, I'd probably target Laporta personally myself.
Yeah, if you don't have one of the top 3 or 4 tight ends, the scoring drops per game so much that it's not worth putting a high value draft choice to get, the 7th or 8th tight end in the league. It's just not worth it. The points are not going to be there. I'm all with you. And tight ends, they seem to change every year. Since, Gronk was always at the top unless he was injured. All right. And then now every single season It's like a new guy. We had Waller there for a while, Kelsey, Kittle, and then Andrews, and now, I think tight end is very fluid, and I would not put too much capital in that position myself.
Yeah, 100%. That's always been my motto. Sometimes it bites me in the ass, but to answer the other questions, I'll just answer Kelsey and Andrews together. Yeah, I do think Kelsey still he's still got value. The thing what people need to remember even with Andrews' injury, you will find someone in your league who looks at the name and bites on the name. So, like, for example, if I had Andrews now, I'd wait a bit, maybe wait until the dust is settled on the season, and then I'd go to the Laporta manager or the Kincaid manager. I'd wait for that first bit of positive news about Andrews to say, oh, yeah, it's not that bad. His surgery went really well and he's going to be back for the start of the season. And I'll go, boom, I want Laporta with Andrews, somewhere else, and we'll make something work. Because fantasy, even though you look at it back and everyone says it, you see a flashy name and you're like, oh, yeah, I'd love that name on my team. Kelsey, on the other hand, for me, he's still valuable. He would still bring in redraft, in Dynasty, he'd still bring the value to your team. I think.
Yeah, he's 34, though, right? Dynasty, his future value may not be there.
Someone would still pay. Someone would still pay for Kelsey. You'd find someone who'd still pay for him.
Yeah, he's the number 9 in. Yeah, 34 player overall.
He's tight end 1 at the moment before Hockenson plays, but he is 1 or 2, and he's not dropped from that position. So, and he's not showing any signs of dropping from that position. So imagine in the off season if the Chiefs get their new Tyreek Hill or Rashee Rice with a season under his belt, the off season, him and Mahomes get that connection, and then you've got the 3-headed monster of the Chiefs back. That's where Kelsey dominates. So Kelsey's dominating in an offense that is struggling. People need to keep that in context. So he's still dominating now, still tight end 1-2 in a team that's struggling to get things going. What happens when the Chiefs actually click? He's dominant still. So I personally think the value's still there. I still think Andrews, you just sit on it. Don't panic. Don't do anything. He's on IR. There's nothing you can do about him. Don't try and rush and get rid of him. Wait for the first bit of positive news that says he'll be back for the start of next season, and then boom, get rid of him as quick as you possibly can. Is my advice.
Actually, yeah, guys like Andrews are the guys I love to trade for value. Yeah, Waller, I did that with Waller, actually, back in the day. But Waller's having a solid season this year, surprisingly. All right, good answer there, Doc Pez. What do we got next, Johnny? The Monday Night Football picks. Doc Pez, who do you got?
Vikings.
Yeah, I'm going Vikings. Johnny, who do you have?
Need 42 points of Hockenson. In standard PPR.
Yeah, I'm going Vikings too. So all Vikings.
Sweet. We're all going Vikings. Go Dobbs. J-Dobbs. Yeah.
The Bears will do well. Bears will do well, but they'll still find a way to fuck up like they always do.
Yep, the standard.
They'll start up brilliant and they'll lose a 20-point lead for 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll get to see DJ more. I'd like to see him. You don't get to see him a lot. And
yeah, they're doing a lot better. They're doing a lot better recently.
Yeah, I'm not a Vikings fan. I've always kind of hated them, but it's exciting to see Dobbs play well. So I'll be pulling for the team, which is very unusual, and I'll be pulling for Dobbs. I like it. All right, what do we got next, Johnny? By the way, Johnny is leading the Monday Night Football standings by 1 game.
Only because I was the only one that picked the Eagles last week. So
we can't catch up if we're picking the same teams.
I'm going to switch.
All right.
Locked.
Oh, man, the Cowboys are 8-point favorites, so I cannot pick the Cowboys
There's
as
a lot
my
of big
lock
favourites
of
in
the
this
week.
one.
Oh,
You
man.
can't pick them anyway. It's your own team.
The Chargers and Pats are even. That's interesting. Wow, am I going to take the Steelers again? I'm always taking the same teams. Wow, this is hard. It's hard to. They have the Rams as 4.5-point favorites over the Browns. That's interesting. The Chiefs 6.5. That's a Monday Night Football game. Shouldn't be doing that one.
I've got.
All right. You got yours? You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You could go first.
All right, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take the Steelers as my lock at home over the Arizona Cardinals. I'm sticking with them. They had 400 yards of offense for the first time since week 2 of season or 2020. So, yeah, they're on a roll. Going with the Steelers. Who do you have, Pez?
I'm going to go for the Lions against the Saints.
Wow. All right. What's the press spread? The Lions 3.5 over the Saints. Excellent. I like that one. Wow. Yeah, 3.5 on the road. Johnny, who do you have?
I'll go the Texans over the Broncos.
On the road.
Texans.
Oh, you brave guy. Johnny, could I change mine quickly? I should have gone with what caught my eye first. I want to change mine quickly. Can I go for the Chargers against the Pats?
Is there a spread in that game?
Yeah, minus 5.5.
Okay. Yeah. Chargers are 5.5-point favorites.
I just reckon the Chargers will find a way to blow it, but they are playing the Pats.
On the road in New England. I don't think that's going to matter. That team is looking pitiful. It's like the Pats of the early 90s and late 90s when they were pitiful.
7-10.
I hope you're proud of yourself, Johnny. Lock of the week too,
yeah, I don't give a toss. It's a win.
Yeah, Johnny has
with Danny DeVito, who can't argue? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito.
Fucking desperate times for them Giants, man.
Well, that's a third string quarterback.
Underdog of the week. All right, let's see here. Underdog. I should have been looking at this earlier. I don't know why I wasn't. Let's see here.
Oh, God.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, precisely.
Johnny, I'll go for mine, head to head. I'm going to go for the Broncos to beat the Texans.
Let's ride.
The most informed team looking at after getting pumped by the Chiefs in week 6, they've been on a roll, won 5 straight with a bye in between.
Wow, this week is not a good week on picking, huh?
So you're going Broncos. No bother.
Oh, there's a Tuesday game. Oh yeah, that's the Monday night, Sunday night. Okay, I got it. Sunday night. All right. So my underdog of the week. I am going to go with a crazy pick here. I am going with the Saints over the Lions at home.
The Saints. There you go. Got a head-to-head there, but not.
Yep.
Yeah, well, no, Pez changed his to Chargers.
I changed to the Chargers.
Changed, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh. They changed it to the Chargers, so we have a different one. And actually, I'm not feeling really good about that choice, to be honest. But none of these games are looking all that great to me.
So I'll go the Eagles. I'll go the Eagles to continue on and beat the 49ers.
Yeah, see, that's the one that I was eyeing, but I cannot pick the Eagles. I just cannot.
The Eagles aren't underdogs.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they are. 1.5 point underdogs.
2.5 points here.
I've got them as favourite. I've got them
the
1.5
one I
favourite.
sent you, they're 2.5 underdogs.
Yeah,
I think I sent you before the game.
Putting his producer's foot down. The one I sent you. That's the one we're going with.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one we agreed.
That
was the one we agreed to go on at the start of the year, so that's the one I go on.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I always look at now is the ones that he sends.
No, yeah, fair enough. Sky Bet have got him on the plus.
Yeah. All right, guys. I was a little tired today. I don't know if it showed, but I appreciate y'all being here. Another week done and dusted. I hope the two of you have a good week, and Johnny, I hope you get access to your computer again.
Yeah, I will do next week. It's just got a busy one this week. So.
And I guess we'll have Gary.
I've got the thing working, so.
And we'll have Gary as a special guest host next week.
Yes, because
Dr.
somebody's away next weekend, so we'll have to do with
has other patients to see.
Yes.
Doing house calls.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I'm going mobile.
Oh, no. All right, guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you next week. Or in 2 weeks for Dr. Later, my friends.
See you next week.
See you later.
See you next week.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.